Her name was Sulika, but since her childhood, everyone had been calling her Bholi, which means the simpleton, the idiot. She was the fourth daughter of Numberdar Ramblal, Numberdar, village head. But why did everyone call her Bholi? Because, when she was 10 months old, she had fallen off her cot and landed on her head. Cot, a small bed for children. Perhaps, it had damaged a part of her brain. That is why she remained a backward child, and came to be known as Bholi, which means, the simpleton. At birth, she was very fair and pretty. But when she was 2 years old, she had an attack of smallpox. Only her eyes were saved, but the entire body was permanently disfigured by deep black pock marks. Upon that, she couldn't speak till she was 5. And at last when she learned to speak, she stammered. Stammer, make stops and repetitions in speaking. The other children often made fun of her. As a result, she talked very little. She was dumb. She had pock marks. And she stammered. So, from her childhood, she was neglected at home. Her father had 7 children, 3 of them were sons, and 4 daughters. And Bholi was the youngest. The sons had been sent to the city, to study in schools, and later, in colleges. It was a prosperous farmer's family, and there was plenty to eat and drink. All the children were strong and healthy. Except Bholi.
Our eldest daughter, Radha, is already married. And the second daughter, Mangla's marriage is also settled.
And after the marriage of Mangla, we will think of Champer.
They all are good-looking, healthy girls. But I am worried about Bholi. She is neither good-looking, nor intelligent.
When Bholi was 7 years old, Mangla was married. The same year, a primary school for girls was opened in their village. Tahsildar Sahib came to perform the opening ceremony.
Ramlal. As a revenue official, you are the representative of the government in the village. And so, you must set an example to the villagers. You must send your daughter to this school.
Of course I will. The Tahsildar Sahib has told me to send Bholi to school.
Are you crazy? If girls go to school, who will marry them?
But I can't disobey him.
I will tell you what to do. Send Bholi to school. As it is, there is little chance of her getting married, with her ugly face and lack of sense. Let the teachers at school worry about her.
Come with me. I will take you to school.
She was frightened. She didn't know what a school was like. She remembered how a few days ago, their old cow, Lakshmi, was sold. So, she was even more frightened about school.
No. No.
What's the matter with you, you fool? I am only taking you to school.
Let her wear some decent clothes today, or else, what will the teachers and the other schoolgirls think of us, when they see her?
New clothes had never been made for Bholi. The old dresses of her sisters were passed on to her. No one cared to mend or wash her clothes. But today, she was lucky to receive a clean dress, which had shrunk after many washes, and no longer fitted her sister. She was even bathed, and oil was rubbed into her dry hair. Only then did she begin to believe that she was being taken to a place better than her home. Question time. What made Bholi feel that school was not a good place? And what made her feel that school was a better place than home? She felt that the school was frightening, because their cow was sold for that. But when she was bathed and given clean clothes, she began to think that school was a better place than her home. When they reached the school, the children were already in their classrooms. Bholi was handed over to the headmistress.
Sit down, in a corner of that classroom.
Bholi didn't know what exactly a school was like, and what happened there. But she was glad to find so many girls, almost of her own age, present there. She hoped that one of these girls might become her friend. The lady teacher, who was in the class, was saying something to the girls. But she could understand nothing. She looked at pictures on the wall. The colors fascinated her. The horse was brown, just like the horse on which the Tehsildar had come to visit their village. The goat was black, like the goat of their neighbor. The parrot was green, like the parrots she had seen in the mango garden, and the cow was just like their Lakshmi. And suddenly Bholi noticed that the teacher was standing by her side, smiling at her.
What's your name, little one?
Bo. Bo. Bo.
She kept her head down, as she sat in her corner, not daring to look up at the girls who, she knew, were still laughing at her. When the school bell rang, all the girls ran out of the classroom. But Bholi couldn't leave her corner. Her head still lowered, she kept on crying.
Bholi.
The teacher's voice was so soft and soothing. She had never been called like that in her life.
Get up. Now tell me your name.
Sweat broke out over her whole body. Would her stammering tongue again disgrace her? For the sake of this kind woman, however, she decided to make an effort. She had such a soothing voice. She would not laugh at her.
Bo. Bo. Bo.
Well done, well done. Come on, now the full name?
Bo. Bo. Bholi.
Well done. Put the fear out of your heart, and you will be able to speak like everyone else. Yes, yes, it will be very easy. You just come to school every day. Will you come? No. Say it aloud.
Yes.
Didn't I tell you? Now take this book.
The book was full of nice pictures, and the pictures were in color: dog, cat, goat, horse, parrot, tiger, cow. And with every picture was a word in big black letters.
In 1 month, you will be able to read this book. Then, I will give you a bigger book, then a still bigger one. In time, you will be more learned than anyone else in the village. Then no one will ever be able to laugh at you. People will listen to you with respect, and you will be able to speak without stammer. Understand? Now go home, and come back early tomorrow morning.
Bholi felt as if suddenly all the bells in the village temple were ringing, and the trees in front of the school had blossomed into big red flowers. Her heart was throbbing with a new hope and a new life. Years passed. The village became a small town. The little primary school became a high school. There were now a cinema under a tin shed and a cotton ginning mill. The mail train began to stop at the railway station. One night, after dinner.
Then, shall I accept Bishamber's proposal?
Yes, certainly. Bholi will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom. A big shop, a house of his own, and I hear several thousand in the bank. Moreover, he is not asking for any dowry.
That's right, but he is not so young, you know, almost the same age as I am, and he also limps. Moreover, the children from his first wife are quite grown up.
So what does it matter? 45 or 50, it is no great age for a man. We are lucky that he is from another village, and does not know about her pockmarks, and her lack of sense. If we don't accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life.
Yes, but I wonder what Bholi will say.
What will that witless one say? She is like a dumb cow.
Maybe you are right.
In the other corner of the courtyard, Bholi lay awake on her cot, listening to her parents' conversation. Bishambernath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a big party of friends and relations with him for the wedding. A band playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession, with Bishamber riding a decorated horse.
I had never dreamt that my fourth daughter's wedding will have such pomp and splendor.
Bring the bride.
Bholi, wearing a red silken bridal dress, with veil on her face, was led near the sacred fire. Veil, a piece of sari that hides woman's face. Garland the bride. Bishamber lifted the garland of yellow marigolds. A woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face. Bishamber took a quick glance at her face.
Have you seen her? She has pock marks on her face.
So what? You are not young either.
Maybe. But if I am to marry her, her father must give me 5,000 rupees.
Ramlal went and placed his turban, his honor, at Bishamber's feet.
Don't humiliate me so. Take 2,000 rupees.
No. 5,000, or we go back. Keep your daughter.
Be a little considerate, please. If you go back, I can never show my face in the village.
Then out with 5,000.
Tears streaming down his face, Ramlal went in, opened the safe and counted out the notes. He placed the bundle at the bridegroom's feet. On Bishamber's greedy face appeared a triumphant smile. He had gambled and won.
Give me the garland.
Once again the veil was slipped back from the bride's face. But this time, her eyes were not downcast. She was looking up, looking straight at her to-be husband, and in her eyes, there was neither anger nor hate, only cold disrespect. Bishamber raised the garland to place it round her neck. But before he could do so, Bholi's hand struck out like a streak of lightning, and the garland was flung into the fire.
Pitaji. Pitaji.
Her father, mother, sisters, brothers, relations, and neighbors were startled to hear her speak, without even the slightest stammer.
Pitaji, take back your money. I am not going to marry this man.
He was thunderstruck. The guests began to whisper, so shameless. So ugly and so shameless.
Bholi, are you crazy? You want to disgrace your family? Have some regard for our Izzat.
For the sake of your Izzat, I was willing to marry this lame old man. But I will not have such a mean, greedy and contemptible coward as my husband. I won't.
What a shameless girl. We all thought she was a harmless dumb cow.
Yes, Auntie, you are right. You all thought I was a dumb, driven cow. That's why you wanted to hand me over to this heartless creature. But now, the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear more?
Bishamber Nath, the grocer, started to go back with his party. The confused bandsman thought this was the end of the ceremony, and struck up a closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low, with the weight of grief and shame. The flames of the sacred fire slowly died down. Everyone was gone.
But what about you? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you?
Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will serve you and mother. And I will teach in the same school, where I learned so much. Isn't that right, ma'am?
Her teacher had, all along, stood in a corner, watching the drama.
Yes, Bholi, of course.
And in her smiling eyes, was the light of a deep satisfaction that an artist feels when observing the completion of her masterpiece. Sulika's teacher, being polite and friendly, encouraged her and transformed her into a confident and educated person. At that point, she became Sulika. She was no longer Bholi. Because she was no longer coward, dumb, and simpleton. This story shows how education can change lives. It shows us that every child deserves a chance to learn and grow, regardless of their background.